Hey, yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Well, this was an interesting one. I got this sent to me, I don't know, last week or so, and the player is Cy Goglin from Clan Harm, and he's anonymous. He's in his Object 277. Tier 10 Russian heavy tank. Pretty cool tank, actually. I like this one quite a bit. But that's not why this one's interesting. Although he is here on Paris. And that's also not why this one's interesting. I got this from him and he said, hey, had this game. It's actually a pretty darn good game. Was there something I could have done better? I added the darn good game. He said, hey, here's a game. What could I have done better? And I love that question. It's a great question. Of all the questions there are, that's one of the greatest of questions. That's my Trump impersonation. Anyway, good game, bad game. I think you can learn from any of them. Oftentimes when I get a good game, though, and it's a player I'm not familiar with, somebody I haven't worked with before or done a review for, I'll look up their stats. And I'm always kind of in the back of my mind, all right, well, he just sent me a 5, 7, 8,000 damage game. Well, you know, what's the purpose of this? Does he really want help? Does he just want it featured? Which is fine. I'm happy to feature great games. Or is he, you know, kind of setting me up, seeing if I'm an idiot and he knows more or whatever? I don't know. By the way, I am an idiot, so it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not always right. I'm not always right. I like to be righter than I am wrong, but hey, you know what? We all have our opinions out there. But, you know, I've helped a lot of people along the way, guys getting better, and it is good to look at good games and figure out, hey, maybe there's something small in here I could have eked out another shot, a missed opportunity, something that could have gone better. It went great, it could have gone better, that kind of thing. And I think there's a lot of utility in that, maybe more so in the good games because it's harder to dig out the extra damage I could have done or the thing I could have done better. So, you know, that's my philosophy. It always has been, and you've seen this on this channel over and over. So now I get this particular one. I'm like, all right, well, let's Cy Goglin. I don't know him. I haven't worked with him at all. So let's take a look at his stats. So I do so. And I find something very interesting. Now, we can all play the game the way we want. And I am doing this with this player's name, and we're going to talk about a clan and a player. But it is more so in the vein of talking about, you know, how I go about doing these videos and how we go about learning. Because I think this is kind of interesting. So this account, I'm going to call it account because I don't think this is the player. I believe he's got another account, which is completely legal, perhaps more. Because this is a 41.88% account that was created on last year in January. And has a tier 10 1, it looks like, which is the Object 277, with a 54% win rate and a pretty good damage per game. And everything else is bot level. 100% bot level, except for some of the lower tier stuff. So, I don't know. I'm not going to dig into the stats. I bring it up because if a person's going to come to me and say, hey, what could I have done better? It doesn't matter to me if it's a count or an alt account. Those are all completely legal. The botting thing is on the border. It's hard to prove a lot of times. I say bot level because that's where the stats are, not because I claim it's a bot account. You can make your own assumptions there, determinations and whatnot. I say it because if I'm going to look at something and give an honest review of it, in my opinion, it's hard to kind of know where we're coming from when it's this kind of account, the anonymous thing, all of that wrapped up in one. I don't know. This, as far as I know, this could be, you know, skill 4-2U. It's not, but you understand what I'm saying. This could be a player that's a 65% player who is obviously, you know, well above my skill level and probably doesn't need the help. It could be just a fact that Cy Goglin's, the switch has flipped at tier 10 and all of a sudden he gets it. I don't know. I don't know. It could be everything in between of that as well. I mentioned it, like I said, because it's hard for me to give a full spectrum opinion of it off of a one-off, and I realize that's what I delve in here is kind of one-offs, but I look at the stats and the players to try to figure that out. So we're going to go ahead. I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was interesting. It may be nothing. It may be a lot of something. Is that as milquetoast as possible? But let's just break down the actual game itself. We're in the 277, which is a very fast and mobile Russian medium. I mean heavy. I mean heavium. I mean, who knows? It's Russian. It does everything. Holy cow. That was, first of all, that is something a bad player rarely does. So that was very nicely done. He comes across that opening knowing that that's where the shot's going to be. Two things. Number one, the shots are going to come at him from that direction. Number two, he will have shots in that direction, so his turret's pointed there. At least if the enemy shot goes high, if it gets to the turret, it might hit that strong frontal turret armor. And he has an opportunity to shoot. Too bad it bounced off the magic EBR. And we're going to keep on keeping on. This was interesting to me, the choice here, that he's going to play very aggressively, and I like that quite a bit. I've been getting punished for this because things like what's happening to him right now. Look at all these heavies going way in the back here. None of them wants to cross. The only two that are really getting aggressive is the BB and the relatively fast 268 version 4. He has a whole ton of guys still at cap or whatever the hell they're doing up there. Having a bonfire, I don't know. So this is a huge opportunity for him to get completely swarmed if the enemy team figures it out. But let's find out what happens. He actually dodges the STB shot. And the STB, what the STB knows is people who are going to get aggressive are going to come down that ramp pretty quickly. And because he's a fast STB, he may get a free shot, which he did, but no harm, no foul for, so we call him Sig. For Sig, he didn't take any damage. And he's able to take this corner, which is really important. He gets a BB show up. What is this going to be a meme, the BB meme? Look at this nice shot right into the turret. He'll have that shot all day. And then of course here comes the 268 version 4 I cannot be defeated guy who gets immediately defeated. So looking for a shot into that hatch on the top, puts another nice shot into there. And we're already up to 992. Finally, he's starting to get enough friends backing him up that it looks like he's probably not going to get swarmed. So as of right now, I believe this is about the fastest you could have got 1,000 damage, to be quite honest. Really nicely done. This other BB is a problem. He's going to be very careful here. The guy's trying to sneak out. Watch how he just shoots right into that little shoulder piece on the WZ-111. That is a weakness of a lot of the Russian tanks. And now we start taking fire from behind. The 268 is no longer interested in dying. Spy Sig. Sig here was using that rubble pile, and then he finds this guy who's probably doing a lot of spotting, and finally gets his shot into him. He's using the rubble pile here to kind of keep his rear end blocked. And then he comes back over here for a shot, so that was really nicely done. Of course, one thing would be, well, that was a low hit point wheeled tank. You should have been up here fighting these guys and getting big hit point shots, but of course he was spotting you. Notice there's an STB. About the time I noticed the STB back behind there floating around, pretty quickly Sig notices it. And of course he was fighting, so I was doing nothing but watching, and I noticed it fairly quickly, and not very long after he notices it. Also, too, he's taking shots from a 907. So while he's got the STB spotted, the 907's up there taking pot shots and eating up some of his hit points. He's trying to line up where that's coming from. Thank goodness the guy missed on that one. That's 300 less hit points, or 300 more hit points we've got. The FV is far enough up that he's not really taking many shots. If he is, he's bouncing them off his turret. And now we're messing around with this STB, and we get that little shot. Now, the only thing I'll say here is if you wanted to go, hey, what's my purest form of getting as many hit points as possible? Probably fighting the guys in front of you instead of shooting low hit point guys behind you, but leaving a 907 back there in an STB because you'd have been echelon to the left and maybe taking shots in the back, possibility of not being a great deal. As far as winning this game goes, what you did, I think, was the best thing. as far as gathering as many hit points together, you probably should have been fighting those guys. Unfortunately, the 268's fighting against you a little bit as far as the position goes, the micro positioning down here. So there's a couple competing priorities. I think I would have done what you did just to make sure that we can get rid of these dudes. Now there's that stinking 907, and watch this. He actually gets this guy. I don't know if it went through his turret or hit that weak spot. I have no idea, but that was amazing. And it worked out very nicely. So we got these guys coming in. I might have shifted for a shot on this guy's turret, but by the time I started really thinking that, here comes the Panzer VII raging in, and you just take a nice shot right into his side, so it doesn't really matter. About the time you're reloaded, you got your hit points. Down goes the Panzer VII with the Death Star right next to you. Nicely done on the bait on that. That just really, then we kill that guy. I want you guys to watch that or think about that, because what just happened there was really important. Two things. Number one, pulls out and baits the 110. He doesn't go for everything. He's like, I'm not going to just jump out there, even though I'm reloaded, eat a shot for 750, and then trade for my 400. He kind of baits the guy, gets the bounce. Then when he comes out and says, all right, 110E3 is on a reload, I'm going to get my free shot, he notices another guy that's a one-shot show up and takes him out instead. Now there's a gun gone, as opposed to just 400 shaved off of the 110E3. That was a hugely important move right there, and that's how you do that. So the Death Star is going to come in. He must... No, he took his stab at it. I guess the Death... I don't know what the Death Star was doing. Was he still on a reload? The 110 actually fired at the Death Star and missed. The Death Star is just aiming in. Is it? He's just trying to get a really... Oh, he was going after the guy behind him. I didn't notice that. All right. So we're going to go right there. Watch this. That placement was incredibly important. It's hard to tell because of the smoke. There we go. See how that's curved right there? If you go to the right, that's curving away. It gives a lot more angle. But if you come into the inside of it, it's curved back towards you, and it flat plates that a little bit more. That's a crazy angle over there. That's a much better angle for your gun right there. He was waiting to get that shot in on that 110E3, so that was nicely done. I think there was a bit of a natural, when we shoot, we almost always back up kind of idea right there. He started that, and then he went straight forward thinking, you know what, we got these guys doped down here, and he may have been kind of analyzing where their tanks were while I was backing up. And he realized the 110 was on a reload, might as well go by him, make him fight multiple directions. This was nice right here. Instead of trying to turn and take the 35 hit points off of that guy, he just blaps the 60 TP, goes by and probably figures he can get a shot on the 110E3 or maybe even the 60 TP. Looks like he wants to make sure that 110E3 goes away, but fortunately the other 110E3 got him. And we're up to 5,973 damage. I don't think we get any more damage, actually. We're just going to press W towards the other hit points. Actually, he gets one more shot, and kind of unfortunate on this that he doesn't get the damage. So he comes right in here. He's aiming in nicely, and looks like either a miss or a bounce, not really sure. And a really nice game. 5 kills, 5,973 damage. What could you have done better? You know what? It's a great game. Probably not a whole bunch. I think there was a discussion there while we're down on the corner. So get this going here. When we're down on the corner down here about prioritizing where the hit points were if you were going for pure DPG. But there's also the counter argument of if I was echelon to the left of the 268 version 4, I might be taking shots from the mediums in the back. If you get down under that bridge a little bit, it is harder for them to hit you from up there, but they can still hit you, and getting hit in the back and whittled down by 2 mediums, that's not going to last very long for you. So by a pure hit point idea, maybe you take a chance and go after the heavies and the things on the corner, helping out the version 2 or version 4. But by the way to win this particular game, I think you made the right decision to engage the mediums and help get rid of those guys, and that frees up the rest of your corner to move around at will down there and take on the rest of their heavies. Nice game, man. Appreciate you sending that in. You got to know, and for everybody else, not a personal attack on the account thing. It's just, it is what it is. Those are the stats. That's what I see. I call it like I see it. I hope this helped. I don't think it's going to make you. I don't think it's going to improve you to a 75% player because there wasn't really much to talk about gameplay wise right there. But I think the larger discussion of improvement, of debriefing, analyzing, looking at accounts, all of that was a good discussion out there. So let me know what you guys think down below. What's your opinion of all that? I'm interested to hear it, because one of the things I like about doing this hobby here is to kind of get that feedback and to generate that discussion about things. So I think this one could be interesting. So I appreciate everybody. Thanks for coming by. That's all I've got. We will see you.